Hello everyone, I'm Steve Politi from the Star-Ledger, joined by Bob Behre, who for the past 25 years has been covering high school sports for the newspaper. And we're here today to introduce our own plan for realigning the North Jersey high schools. And I know this has been a big deal, perhaps the biggest issue in high school sports, I think, in the last 5-10 years.
At least.
The competitive unbalance between the parochials and the public schools. The state's working on it now. We beat them to the punch. We've come up with our own plan. Tell me some of the challenges and some of the goals for you when you were doing this.
Well, as you say, one of the main goals was competitive balance. I mean, that's what has created a lot of the anger that's out there. We also factored in travel, so it's geography. We wanted to bring schools that are from the same areas together, again, like they used to be. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to preserve those rivalries, those great rivalries that exist and that formerly existed and then went away because of past realignment, and wanted to bring them back together.
Right, and so much of the current conferences are just completely herky-jerky, one school playing here, for, a different city. You really don't have a continuity, because a lot of them were just thrown together without much thought, you know.
Right.
They really kind of came together, and now this is finally bringing a lot of the old things back together.
Exactly.
And let's just start right now with our thoughts on to separate the Big 12, we're calling them, the most powerful parochial schools in football only.
Right.
What are the advantages into what we're doing here?
Well, we're separating the big powerhouses and the non-publics, as we call them now, and we're getting them away from the publics, who they're just they've been beating their brains out for the past couple of years, several years actually, and it's a great setup. I mean, the VERDUCCI division is Bergen Catholic, Bosco, Immaculata, Seton Hall, St. Joe's of Montvale, and St. Peter's Prep.
Just think of that. I mean, think of the crowds for some of those games. And I think what a lot of people don't realize, it's good for the public schools, since they obviously can't compete. But I think it's good for the parochial, since you're going to have more interest. You're going to have, I mean, that could be one of the best high school football leagues in the country.
Right.
When you think about it.
I thought you were going to say state. And
No.
Absolutely country. I mean, one of the best leagues in the country. I mean, no doubt about it. I mean, and some of the best recruits nationally will be playing in that
Now,
league.
we've also decided to leave the parochial schools in with the publics for the other sports.
Yes.
Talk about why that was different for football than for basketball, baseball, and the rest.
Well, while in isolated instances, there's some non-publics that are real powerhouses in other sports, but generally speaking, the non-publics are really more like Group 4 schools, competitive-wise, for the most part. And we realize it's not perfect, but we just felt grouping them with Group 4 schools for all other sports made a lot of sense.
Now, the two of us are both Essex County guys, so let's start with the Essex Conference, which I really like. I mean, I don't know why it's not like this now. When you have so many high schools so close together, why don't they play each other? Well, now, under our plan, they will. Tell us about what we've done here.
I think it's great. As someone who grew up watching the Big Ten Conference, and you're playing someone seemingly in your own neighborhood every day in whatever sport, it's just perfect. I mean, the Essex County schools became splintered across 4 or 5 conferences around North Jersey. Now they're all together, and it's just logical. We group them by group and ability, and it just seems like a natural.
Right, and the only drawback I see is a very funny line in here is that the Chabaz girls basketball team now has to negotiate the traffic all the way down Bloomfield Avenue to get to Caldwell. I'm sure that's a small price to pay, not to have to go halfway across to other counties and play teams that aren't necessarily rivals.
Right, Essex County police will be busy directing traffic on Bloomfield Avenue.
Exactly. Now, one thing we combined the Hudson, Bergen, and Passaic counties together in a league. What were some of the thoughts on doing that?
Again, it's geography. It's a natural. I mean, these schools, for the most part, we really left the Hudsons together in the same leagues, and we didn't even change the names of their divisions. It's still a COVIELLO and SEGLIO. It seemed natural, but
names for famous people, athletes in Hudson County.
Exactly, coaches, etc. And to me, the big thing in this gigantic conference, I think there's 45 or 46 teams, is we brought some great rivalries back together. Right. Wayne Hills and Wayne Valley, for example. I mean, it's a bicycle ride between schools, and they don't play each other in sports.
Really
it's ridiculous. Well, we're going to have them playing basically every other day in one sport or the other.
And the fact that you have a super conference gives more teams opportunity to win their division, more trophies, and that's certainly people like that. We did the same thing with Morris and Sussex together in a conference. Again, a lot of the schools reunited and playing each other, and we managed to keep it pretty tight for Morris and Sussex.
Right.
But of course, you have to separate them somewhat for the same size of schools. What happened in this county?
Well, I think the big thing is over the years, the Sussex County Interscholastic League has changed. Schools grew bigger. There's a lot of Group 2s, there's some Group 3s. Vernon is a gigantic Group 4 up there, and they're playing in a Group 2 league, and that really kills them with football playoff PowerPoints. They've been trying for years to get some league to bring them in. The whole idea of the NJSIA is to work in a common good association. We're showing you how to work in a common good association.
Right.
We're dragging Sussex down to Morris and marrying those two counties, basically.
And finally, if you look at the Super Skylands Conference, which is what we're talking, another example works with the Union County schools and brings in, I like the way it brings in some rivalries with schools a little further south, too. Tell us about how it's going to work.
The Skylands is really, it's a conference that is in good shape to start out, but we want to bring in the Union County schools to marry them with the current structure of the league, which is Warren, Hudson, and Somerset.
Right.
And over the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, the Skyland Conference has really come together from a standpoint of separating by group and really balance themselves out. We're going to bring in Union County, who was also splintered.
Right.
We're going to bring them back together and get those rivalries going again.
I mean, and you maintain Union, Linden, Elizabeth, all these powerhouse publics that have been together for years. They still play each other, and I think that's the key to this. Is you want to have those natural rivalries for the high schools.
And if you just looking at these divisions, I mean that Campbell division is unbelievable, and you go through it. And you see with the Hudson County schools and the Somerset schools together in the Ringo division, it's just an outstanding setup.
I think a lot of people in the state were caught off guard at how divided the vote was to separate the publics and privates. Now they're trying to work something out and come up with an agreement. What is their next step?
Well, their next step is, I think the first thing they want to do is get rid of all that anger, and I think this does it. I mean, there's just the level of anger is unprecedented. I mean, at this point, their next step is to adopt our policy here.
That's right.
And take it and run. And I think the whole process would, from what I understand, couldn't be done for next school year. Would be the following.
Right. Well, Bob, we saved them a lot of work and and time, effort. So all they have to do is just adopt our plan. And I think they'll have a good one, and high school sports will be better for it. So we'll see. The ball's in their court now, right?
Here we go. Let's see what they can do.
Well, thank you very much, Bob, and thanks for watching.